Hello, in this video I'm going to show you the best way to easily beat the Empires of the Undergrowth level 5-3 Last Mound Standing on Impossible difficulty with the challenge active. And I say this is the best strategy because I've not seen any YouTubers do this. I looked all over YouTube and I couldn't find anyone that did as well in this level as I did. So I don't mean to brag, but I just might be the best Last Mound Standing player in the world. I'm just kidding. I do mean to brag. This is my one accomplishment in life. Let me have this. Alright, so first off, I need to explain how the termites' food mechanics work. So, this is how this works. They're similar to leaf cutters, and what they do is you send there's minor workers, major workers, and minor and major soldiers. The minor workers do nest jobs like digging out tiles, placing tiles, processing food, planting eggs, and the major workers collect food. They're the only ones that have a significant collection rate. So what happens is they collect food and they bring it to the food storage. This is the food storage, this is the usable food storage. So they bring it to the food storage, then the minor workers come in and eat it. Once they eat it, then it takes them about 10 seconds to digest it. Once they're done digesting it, they bring it over to the usable food tiles and deposit it. And that will slowly add to the amount of food in the usable food area. So basically, collect the food, goes to the food storage, lesser workers take it from the food storage, digest it, and bring it over to the usable food storage. And you'll notice that it's going up one by one. Each minor worker can carry 10 food at a time and process 10 food at a time. But it doesn't immediately deposit all 10 food at once. They deposit the food and then it slowly grows from 1 to 10 usable food. Alright, with that out of the way, let's actually start the level now. Alright, the first thing you'll notice is that the timer is back. Everything in most of these levels happens on a timer, so after a certain amount of time after the level starts, then everything will happen. It's time-based. So everything is scripted to happen at a certain time. So if you start a timer right as the level starts, then you can know exactly when everything is going to happen. And it's not mandatory, I've beaten this level without it, but it sure helps quite a lot. So we're going to be using that. Alright, so we need to move fast here. Bring the major workers over here, turn off combat for them. Now, we upgrade 2 major workers, place 3 normal food storage tiles, not the usable food storage. Now we're going to dig out the chamber of 7 for soldiers, and we're going to dig out here. We're going to dig out through here, and dig out through here. All these tunnels are for defense against the scorpion and the stink ants, and I'll show you how that works a little later when they show up. Now, the reason we're not upgrading the food storage they gave us is because it actually doesn't. It's not a good spot for the food storage because your workers have to actually go here to collect the food to bring it over here to process it. But when they do that, then if there's enemies at the front of the nest, they'll get killed while trying to do it. So if there's enemies attacking you, you have to turn off food processing unless you have your food stored somewhere else, which is why we put it there. Alright, so we upgraded 2 major workers, made a little more food storage. Now we are going to make 2 soldiers, 2 minor soldiers. Now we have earwigs that are patrolling around here, and the earwigs are, they're kind of RNG based. Sometimes you get babies, sometimes you get adults. Ideally you want babies, but sometimes you'll get an adult or two. We got lucky and we only got babies. Alright, let's quickly make the soldiers. So, the minor termite workers, they just do all the nest jobs and stuff. Major workers, they pretty much only harvest food. They can't do any nest jobs like digging out tiles or anything, but they harvest a ton of food. And they're actually worth upgrading. You'll notice I upgrade them instead of making more. That's because at level 1 they harvest 15 food, and every upgrade harvests 15 more food, which means you get the same bonus as you would if you just made a new worker. So it's actually worth upgrading them, which is nice. If you upgrade the minor workers to level 3, then you will actually increase the amount of food you get when processing by 50%. So if you harvest 10 food, it'll get processed into 15 food, which is really helpful. Alright, so now that we have 3 soldiers, we are going to start upgrading more workers. We just want enough soldiers to be able to kill all these earwigs. So the path they'll take is they'll go from here, move around to here, and then go back. And then there will be some that will go from here, down to here, and up here, and then all the way back. And if you kill all the ones that are down here, then you can harvest from the bottom freely. Because these are too far away to see us. But if you only kill the ones at the top, the ones at the bottom will still be able to get you because their path takes them right next to your ramp. So we're going to go ahead and keep harvesting. Going to dig out those 2 tiles. Don't dig out any more than this amount of tiles. Trust me, it's one of the hugely helpful things I was talking about when I mentioned having the best strategy. Oops, didn't mean to put the workers there. So you'll notice the major workers actually count as soldiers. That's because they did that, they categorized them as soldiers, I think, because it was the easiest way to prevent them from doing nest jobs. So they just categorized them as soldiers and gave them a really high harvesting rate. And they're actually decent fighters, but you do need at least 1 soldier, and the reason for that is because minor soldiers have 2 combat buffs. The first one is they can stun enemies or confuse them, which prevents them from attacking for a few seconds, or like 1-2 seconds. And also, as they attack, they increase the damage of themselves and nearby allies. So even just having 1 allows you to confuse enemies. So the difference between having like 2 extra workers and 1 extra soldier is pretty substantial. So you need at least 1 soldier if you want to take out the earwigs. Ideally 2. I use 3 just to be safe, but you don't necessarily have to. Now we want to harvest all of this food here as soon as possible because on night 3 or 4, I'm pretty sure it's night 3, the southern termite colony is going to come harvest it, and they'll come right through here, right next to our ramp, so you can't actually harvest at all while they're doing that, unless you want to fight them, which is completely pointless. So the first termite raid by the matabele is 5:10, 5 minutes 10 seconds in, but it's not on our mount, so we don't have to worry. So the first time we really have to worry about anything is 7:55 when heat stroke comes. Also at 6:10, tiger beetles will show up, so I would get your termites ready for combat before then. Now I'm turning on enemy mounting for the workers but not the soldiers. That's because I don't think that the soldiers get their damage buff or confuse ability while they're mounted on enemies. And additionally, I don't think units mounted on enemies can actually take damage from them. So we want to concentrate the damage that we're taking on the tanky soldiers instead of the weaker workers. Alright, so when he says that it's starting to get hot, you have about 1 minute to harvest before it gets too hot to continue doing so safely. So we're just going to do a little bit more, then bring everyone back inside. So now that we've gotten, how many workers is this? 9. Once we've gotten 9 workers and upgrade them as much as possible, we're focusing entirely on soldiers from this point on. So we're going to go ahead and fight this chamber. You'll notice I've turned off enemy mounting for both of them now. You'll see why later. So we actually want to turn off food gathering right now, and we want to focus entirely on just clearing out this chamber, then this one, then this one. And by that time, we should be able to go back outside again. Nights are really short in this level. Right on the dot, 7:55, heat stroke. Now, we're going to want to delete this food storage once it empties. If you delete it while there's food on it, it just deletes the food, which is kind of stupid. Oh yeah, you want to turn off food gathering, combat, and enemy mounting for the minor workers. I forgot to do that. So eventually we use up all the food here, and then we can delete it. Hopefully that happens soon. It seems slightly inconsistent, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Let's make another soldier. Dig this out. Once 9 o'clock hits, 9 minutes in, then we are going to be able to go back outside. Remember, don't turn on food harvesting here until you've killed all of these guys. Now that I've killed them all, I can turn on food harvesting for the workers. See how much is here. 39. Alright, time to go outside. We'll place some more food storage as well. Now we're getting attacked by stink ants. They attack... You'll either get attacked by stink ants or matabele every time the cooldown happens. You'll notice the tiger beetles are still here. That's fine, we can deal with them.
The termites will fight to the death.
Now we might have to just leave this here for a while, I'm not sure. More soldiers. We're going to camp here for a little bit because earwigs are going to spawn here. So we're going to want to kill them before we try and harvest more. And that's completely full. Sometimes that happens, especially if you have a lot of harvesting ability. We actually aren't going to make more than 12 major workers because that's actually all we need. Okay, see, we got big earwigs this time. That'll happen more on the later nights. The enemies will get stronger as per usual with this game. And they came from over here rather than down here. That's fine. Again, we want to focus entirely on making soldiers right now, because we're going to need as many as possible. We want at least like 13. Ideally, we want 19, but we'll see if we can get that. How much food is here? Very little. Okay. Turn food gathering back on, and perfect. 1 food left, we'll delete all that now. Upgrade some of this a little bit. Place another soldier. Almost got all this stuff, but we actually want to start heading indoors now. Also, we're going to dig this out because the stink ants open up this food for us.
The termites must defend themselves.
So at 12 minutes in, the scorpion will show up, and we need to prevent him from digging through to get this earwig chamber, because if he does, we'll have to fight him and the earwigs at the same time, which is almost impossible early on. So if you dig right through here, as I've done, you'll be right next to the opening, and he will not be able to pass you. most likely. The strategy I've seen others use is either they kill this before the before the scorpion comes, or they'll dig through here. But if they dig through here, that only has like, I tried it a bunch, and it's only got like a 50% chance of actually working, and half the time the scorpion just takes the earwigs anyway. But this works almost 100% of the time. Now turn off enemy mounting. That's why I told you to do that earlier, because if you have enemy mounting on, then they'll climb on top of the scorpion and they won't distract it. You can't kill it. Well, you can, but it's insanely difficult. So you just need to keep it distracted until it leaves. And the way to keep it distracted is just to keep a bunch of termites attacking it. So if you don't have anything attacking it, then if they're on its back, then it won't get distracted by them, and it'll just barge through and just destroy the earwig chamber. Getting a little bit low on food storage. That's less than ideal. So at 1410, the matabele will show up. It'll take them about a minute to get here from then. So hopefully we'll be okay. Goodness snakes. See, we're collecting tons of food with just the small amount of workers we have. That's very good. Yes I do. There we go. Sometimes the outside enemies will fight, which is kind of nice. This should be enough for the matabele raid, so I'm going to go ahead and start upgrading my usable food storage now. Gonna head inside. So now we want to focus on, now that we have 16 soldiers, we want to focus on getting our stored food up as much as possible.
Matabele have returned for their tribute. The raiding column is bound for the central termite colony.
We only want to spend just enough food on upgrading to almost get to the max limit we have. Because if we spend more, then it's basically a waste. Alright, they're coming in. And now we will send both our soldiers and our workers to fight. Alright, let's pause here. Let's pause here. There we go. So what the matabele do is they'll emerge from here, and then they'll go through here, and they're smart in this level. They don't just charge into your mound one by one, single file, like they do in most of the other levels. They'll pause about here and group up. And once they've grouped up a bunch, then they'll all charge in at once, which is really bad. However, what people normally do is they'll send their termites out here to attack them before they have a chance to do that, which is a decent idea because they actually send their injured soldiers first, which are weaker. And additionally, if there are corpses on the ground, matabele or termite, some of them will pick those up and leave with them, meaning you don't have to fight them. They'll bring back the termite corpses for food and the matabele corpses for healing. However, that means you don't get to kill them. So up here we have termite resistance to matabele raids, and it shows each mound's resistance. Whenever you kill a matabele, your score goes up, and the matabele will always raid the mound with the lowest score. So we want to get the score as high as possible so we can skip as many raids as possible. Normally, if you use the prevailing strategies, you just get enough to skip one raid. You'll outstrip one mound in score, but not the other. But with my strategy, I can consistently outstrip both mounds and drastically minimize losses. So think about it, when you're playing as matabele, what is the most annoying place to fight termites? Narrow corridors. So, by turning the entrance of our nest into a narrow corridor, we have a massive advantage. See, they can only fit like 4 or 5 soldiers at the front. We can fit like 10 or 11. So we have a massive numbers advantage. Plus, when we fight closer to our queen, the king termite will actually help us fight, and he's invincible. So any termites or any ants that attack him are just wasting their attacks. So as you can see, none of these guys can actually attack us. So we're basically capped out at the amount of matabele we have to fight at a time. So as long as we can keep our supply of soldiers up, we're basically invincible. As long as we can hatch soldiers fast enough, and as long as we have enough food to hatch them. See, we've already passed the North Mound, and we're going to pass the South Mound as well soon. Sometimes, if you do particularly well, you can get so high of a score that not only do you pass both mounds, but you also manage to pass the lower score mound enough that even after the next raid, they won't catch up to you, meaning you can skip 3 raids instead of 2. And as you can imagine, having basically having the amount of matabele raids you get gives you so much more time to do other things. And this is what I mean when I say I have the best strategy, because I've not seen anyone else do this. I thought that maybe I'd seen it in a video somewhere and that's where I got the idea, but I looked up a ton of videos and I couldn't find any of them where people actually use this strategy, so until proven otherwise, I'm going to take credit for it. So this turns the matabele raids from absolutely terrifying and dreaded into literally boring, because it does take longer because they're not sending half of them back with food and stuff, but it makes them so much easier, so much safer. And look at this, we've got almost double the score of the next highest mound. This is what I mean when I say I've not seen anyone else do this well. Because even the best players that I've seen on YouTube, like, I don't know, Nappy and Mega Chonker, I don't remember, like a bunch of the other players I've seen, none of them use this strategy. And I never see them get a score higher than both mounds, so yes, I am bragging, but I don't mean to put anyone down. They're probably better at the game than me in general, as in, if they use this strategy, they would do better than me when I use this strategy, so I'm not trying to denigrate them at all. I'm just proud of myself for coming up with this. So the next thing that's going to happen is cooldown and stink ants. So these stink ants are tunneling. So here's my solution for dealing with stink ants. Human sacrifice. Or termite sacrifice. Insect sacrifice, whatever. So I mentioned that the matabele sometimes will... Hang on, let me pause for a second. I mentioned that the matabele will sometimes bring termite corpses back for food. Stink ants do that too. So if you send them a bunch of workers and sacrifice the workers to them, then like half of them or 3/4 of them will just take the corpses and leave, and so you don't have to fight them. And since workers cost much less to respawn than soldiers do, then you get to keep a lot more food and you don't have to fight hardly any at all. If you're really lucky, you won't have to fight any of them because all of them will turn back with food. That's why we dug out this tunnel, because otherwise the stink ants would dig through this area to get to us, and we'd have to fight the earwigs, which we're not prepared for yet. Now, another thing about these stink ants is every night, every time the area cools down, you'll either get attacked by stink ants or the matabele. And see, look at this, they're turning back. Look at this, every single one of them turned back. That is incredible. And I've not seen anyone use this strategy either, and I'm 100% sure about that. So now we're going to head back outside and get more food. It's almost always better to harvest down below than up above. I don't think I've seen a situation where that isn't the case, so I just entirely focus on harvesting down below. Uh-oh. Fighting 2 things at once. 3 things at once. Good. I'm going to go ahead and start making some minor workers now, and we're going to dig out a chamber for major soldiers. Alright, we're doing pretty well, actually. So 20 minutes, 50 seconds in is scorpion time. So we're just going to harvest a little bit of food and then leave. I'll actually turn on food harvesting for the soldiers as well. So every new miner soldier or miner worker we make can harvest, it can digest 10 food at a time, and upgrading them doesn't increase that, but it makes them digest food faster. And it also, at level 3, it gives you the 50% food bonus, which we want to get as soon as possible. So now, of course, we want to bring everyone back here to prepare to fight the scorpion. We want to do this right here because on the first night he can break through these unbreakable blocks. Every night after he only breaks the breakable ones that you can break, which means if he gets past this point on any night after the first night, he will dig out these tiles and he can actually yeet your termites into them, causing them to be permanently trapped. At that point they might as well just be permanently dead because they can't move out, you can't dig them out, they can't die because there's nothing in there to kill them. The only way to get them out is to delete the tile that they spawn from, and it doesn't tell you which tile is associated with which termite, so that's practically impossible. So we want to keep him from getting any further than here for as long as possible. And then once he does dig this out, then we only want to fight him over here, because if we fight him up here, then he can yeet our termites into here. But if we fight him over here, then he won't do that. Okay, now, let me pause real quick and look at my cheat sheet. Let's see. 23 is matabele, and normally that would be our raid. We would have to fight the matabele again. But thanks to my incredible military skills, we don't have to do that. So the next thing we have to worry about is 2545 heat stroke. So let's go outside. We want to harvest food outside as much as possible, because obviously you can't do that during the daytime. I'm going to start digging out tiles so we can upgrade some of our workers so we can collect food faster. You don't have to put your brood tiles all in the same exact place as I am, but that's where I like to put them. It's just consistent and looks nice. I'm upgrading this speed tile, by the way, because that'll allow me to upgrade this more. We'll be able to get, I think, 7 fully upgraded workers here, which will give us bonus food. Now, once we have a bunch of level 3 upgraded workers, we actually want to move the spawn workers, the crown workers, away from the group that is processing food, because they're always level 1 and they never get the bonus harvesting. So we don't want them to waste that 50% food. We only want to harvest, or we only want to digest food with the ones that will give us the bonus. It will slow our food processing down a little bit, but we'll get more overall. So it's kind of like the corpse bloom from Risk of Rain 2, but actually good. See, look, they're attacking the other mound. Now, I mentioned that during the cooldown, you either get attacked by stink ants or the matabele. And this is how that works. If you get attacked by the matabele on a night, stink ants won't attack you that night. However, they actually queue their attack, and so the next night after a matabele invasion, the next night you'll get 2 stink ant raids. So every couple nights you'll have to deal with 2 groups of stink ants invading at once instead of just one. So keep that in mind. I don't remember exactly when the enemies spawn here. I think they tend to spawn about a minute and a half before heat stroke. Not 100% sure about that though. And here they are. Let's actually bring everybody inside for now. And we'll go ahead and harvest from up here, because we still have plenty of food in here. Let's make some more usable food storage. I want to start making major soldiers because they're really going to help us in the matabele raids.
The undergrowth is baking in the midday sun. Insects ill-equipped to withstand the high temperatures will fall victim to heat stroke.
Alright, let's make one soldier. At 2650, we're going to be attacked by the matabele. So I think I'm going to focus on making soldiers until then. You'll notice that we have the music for the harvest in this level. For some reason, they just reused that music. I don't know why. I feel like if they're going to reuse any music for these levels, that they use like triage or drive them back, or even the front line music would work pretty well with this, but it chose the harvest, which is, I mean, you are harvesting, but I don't know, it still feels a little weird to me. And since we have so much food, we're actually going to allow all of our workers to process it. Because right now we need to focus on speed. We have plenty of food, we just need to process it faster right now. And it's sure taking them a while. Hurry up. Waiting for the light to change or something? Come on. There we go. I've got about 40 seconds before the matabele attack us. Gonna go ahead and get everybody ready to fight at the queen. So once we have this little tunnel system going, the only thing that we have to worry about during matabele raids is, as I've mentioned, respawning speed and food. So we've kind of got it made right now.
The sun has set, and without fail, the matabele launch their raid.
If you're not respawning fast enough, then you might want to turn off food processing for the workers, so they focus all their energy on respawning your soldiers instead of some of it going towards making more food. But once you run out of food, then you want to turn that back on. Now you want to time this properly. Ideally, you want to fight them right here. If you fight them down here, the king won't help, and it'll take longer for reinforcements to arrive. And if they get past the tunnel, then you don't have your bonus, and losing that is a major disadvantage. Alright, let's go. Bring everybody in. The major soldiers survive way longer here, and in the later waves when all the matabele are upgraded, pretty much the only termites that'll survive for more than a couple seconds are the major soldiers, so we're going to want a lot of those. Once we get 19 major soldiers, we're going to focus on upgrading them rather than upgrading the minor soldiers or making more major soldiers. Because as you can see, once we have enough termites to consistently fit through here and just keep a ton here at all times, there's no point in making more because they wouldn't be able to fit here anyway. So we just want to upgrade them to make them better at doing that. Now you'll notice that we're getting a little low on our stuff here, so we're going to pull our workers back because that way our workers will be able to focus on respawning the soldiers rather than the workers. So look at this, we have tons of food and we haven't even finished upgrading our 12 workers. So yeah, see, look at this, this is a boring raid. We're literally just sitting here. We've already outstripped both mounds. And we're just sitting and waiting. There is one problem with this, however. The scorpion. If we don't manage to kill all these guys before the scorpion shows up, we're in trouble. So, to that end, I'm actually going to send my major workers over here real quick, so at the very least we'll be able to buy a couple more seconds. And I forgot to dig this chamber out and fight them, but hopefully I won't need to. Make sure enemy mounting is off for everybody. Almost finished. Alright, we're going to send the soldiers up here now. There's only a couple matabele left. We should have enough to keep this dude distracted. I'm actually going to send some workers in there as well, just to make sure that we have enough to keep the scorpion away from here.
The scorpion has returned to feed. It must be stopped.
Yes. So as you can see, it's a fully grown scorpion now with a health bar and everything. It doesn't start out that way. Oh yeah, we want to turn food production off for all tiles except the one that's right there, because
The brave termite guards saw off the
for reasons I don't remember. Alright, let's pause real quick so I can check my cheat sheet. 32 is the matabele. They will be attacking the north mound. So, that means we can go outside now. Let's see here. The reason I want food production off for all these is because I don't want any of these to be processing food except the ones that's going to give us the bonus, as I mentioned earlier. So we have about 4 minutes before it gets too hot to be out here. Let's go ahead and kill this scorpion here. The enemies out here are just going to get stronger and stronger. Let's turn off combat for the workers, actually. And since we're outside right now, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the workers so we harvest more food during this trip. This level used to be almost impossible for me, even on extreme difficulty without the challenge. But now it's kind of a breeze, almost. Fully upgrade these. You're going to want to get one upgraded speed tile here, here, and here in order to upgrade all of these fully, which is what we want to do.
Dawn breaks and a matabele raid is imminent. They're heading straight for the northern mound.
And let's actually send the workers up here for now. Now, the reason we don't need more than this is because we're actually using our soldiers to help gather. They don't gather very much. Everything other than the major soldiers or the major workers harvest like 6 food at a time. They don't harvest very much, as you can see here. So, you mostly want to use the major workers for harvesting, but when you have so many of them, then it really doesn't matter that they barely harvest anything, because you can harvest quite a bit just by spamming them. Let's go ahead and turn off food gathering and get these guys ready to fight whatever spawns here. Tiger beetle, cool.
The termites must defend themselves.
Well, that's slightly less than ideal, but we managed to get most of our workers past him, so that's good. Oh, for pity's sake. This is slightly annoying, as I previously mentioned. Probably should have kept my workers here a bit longer, but oh well. We will be fine, I'm sure.
Out in the open, they won't survive for long.
Alright, let's bring everybody inside now. And we're going to prepare to harvest our next chamber, which will be right here. Actually, it's going to be this one. We want to prepare for the next scorpion raid, and we want to make sure that even if he gets past this point, he's not going to swarm us with earwigs. I'm also going to start making more workers here. Move the workers away from the earwig fighting. Get some upgrades. And we have Leroy Jenkins here just staring death in the face and committing Sudoku. It's nice when you fight close enough that the king can help you. But if he gets too far away, then he'll go back. And if he's right at the edge, then he'll keep going back and forth and not really do much. See? Just like that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and reorganize my troops a bit. Dig this out. Let's see. So the next thing is going to be more stink ants, so we're going to prepare because we're going to get attacked by 2 groups at once. By the way, if miner workers are carrying food and they die, that food gets vaporized. I don't know why they did that. It's annoying, but that's how it works. I feel like they should just drop the food on the ground, honestly. That would be a lot nicer. As you can see, we're just shredding these guys. This is great. Alright, stink ants. We are going to send our workers over here as usual. So these stink ants will show up in clockwise directions, so they start here, then... No, they start here, then here, then here, here, and then they'll keep going around like this. So this wave is coming from here, and the next wave in 40 seconds will be coming from here. And you can use these workers as meat shields too, because they're not carrying food, so we don't care if they die. Now usually you won't be able to clear all of them from here. Let's actually go ahead and send these guys here. Also turn on combat for the workers that you're sacrificing. I'm not sure, but it seems that the stink ants are more likely to bring their corpses back if they fight. I don't know why, or if that's even true. It might just be the placebo effect, but it's a thing that may or may not be a thing. So usually you'll get about 2 stink ants that will refuse to go back, and you'll have to fight them, but it's way better than having to fight all of them. And if you look at how much food each unit costs to hatch, minor workers are 2 food, major workers are 3, soldiers are 6 and 11, so that's twice as much. So it's definitely not worth it to try and fight them with your soldiers. Getting a little trickle of sacrifices in here. Let's go ahead and turn that off and get all of our soldiers ready to fight. And they're getting to the food stores bad. So now we can harvest all the food here, which we have already done. That was fast. Alright, next thing that's going to happen is 3840 Scorpion. So we're going to send these guys here. And I don't think I have enough time for more... digging out more bad guys, so I'm just going to focus on harvesting food, and then I'm going to wait. Wow, just one harvest round, and we already took them all out. Now I'm actually going to dig this out, so we have more room to fight the Scorpion. And because the major soldiers cost more to respawn, I'm going to keep them back here, and we're only going to send them in if all the rest of these guys died and we need to send in reinforcements. Now, I've heard conflicting information about when the Scorpion leaves. Some say it's on a timer and he always stays for a set amount of time. Some say it depends on the number of termites he's killed. Some say it depends on the total food value of termites he's killed. Some say that it's after you do a certain amount of damage, no one can agree on what it is. But in my experience, if you send a bunch of termites to attack it, he seems to leave faster. I don't know if that's because he's eating them or because they're dealing damage. But, yeah, that's what I do. Now, when the first enemy termite mound falls is up to RNG.
The scorpion has left.
There is...
Before it ate heartily.
It's really just 100% luck when the first termite mound falls. And you don't want it to fall soon. You want to wait until you are prepared for it. I've gotten really unlucky and had the first mound fall at 37 minutes. Normally it waits till at least 40 or so. But sometimes if you're really unlucky, it'll happen sooner than that. So now, okay, I actually had to restart my computer and start a new game because it just stayed frozen, unfortunately. I waited like 5 minutes, still frozen. But I'm at the point where I was last time, so we're going to go ahead and fight this raid. I think I have the exact same number of ants or termites as I used to. I'm going to call them ants occasionally. Just know that I mean termites. Yeah, see, look at all this. I've got tons and they're still coming. And I'm not worried. Well, I'm a little bit worried, but not very much. They're still coming. Yeah, see, look, they get a huge amount before they charge in. Get ready, and... let's go.
The termites will fight to the death.
Turn off food production. And as usual, I will send the workers in if we start getting too beat up. If we need reinforcements. For now, it looks like we're doing pretty good. So look at all this. This is just impressive. There's just so many of them. And I'm easily handling them all. You actually want to make sure that the scorpion doesn't come through and break this, because if that happens, you're pretty much toast. That has happened to me. You'll notice that pretty much all the ones that are actually here and still alive are the blue ones. Those are the major soldiers.
The sand around the mound is heating under the midday sun. Termites wandering far from the safety of the nest will dry out quickly.
Let's let the minor soldiers group up real quick, and then we'll send them all in at once, if it's necessary. Ideally, you want to get attacked by the matabele in the daytime, because that way you don't have to worry about the scorpion attacking while you're still fighting them, and you don't have to worry about getting extra stink ant raids. You're kidding me. It's the exact same spot. Hold on. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, man. I don't know why it keeps doing this. I managed to beat, like, 7 rounds of this level. I've had to actually re-record this, like, 6 times. Because first I was a little out of practice, so I kept losing. And then later it kept, keeps freezing up, so, yeah, that's fun. Let's see, what's the next thing that happens? It is 44:35, stink ants. Excellent. We're now going to open up this chamber because it's actually easier to fight a giant emperor or a giant normal non-emperor scorpion than it is to fight a bunch of little earwigs. It's almost always better to fight 1 or 2 big enemies than a bunch of little ones. Let's take a look at his health. It's going to be going down real fast. Look at that. We're getting like 200 damage per second. That's awesome. Poor guy got absolutely shredded. Nice. Fully upgraded that. I don't remember if that was the case in the last attempt. Oop, hang on.
The day is drawing to an end, and under the crimson mantle of
Alright,
twilight,
so
the matabele march forward. They will strike
we might,
the northern mound.
one of the mounds might die today. Hopefully not. They have quite a few soldiers. You'll notice that almost all their soldiers are level 3. And,
Quickly before too many workers are lost.
that's why we actually don't want either of the mounds to die, because once one mound dies, the other one will attack us, and they're way harder to deal with than the scorpion or the matabele or the stink ants. Because we can't use that blockade strat, the choke point thing, fighting them in a narrow tunnel, because we're the same size, so it doesn't give us any advantage. If you didn't know this, you can right-click on the minimap to place pheromone markers. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully we can get these dudes taken care of before 4820, because that's when the scorpion shows up. Let's check on these guys' progress. Oh, they're not doing too hot. They just might die. Usually one mound will fall, the first mound will fall right as you get attacked by the scorpion, which really sucks, because then you have to fight the scorpion and the other termites at the same time. Alright. 48 is scorpion. They're so close. That's scary. They almost got him. Just real quick, gonna try and get more food because I have like a minute and a half. Oh, some of those guys over there. There's still some stuff to gather. So now we're gonna focus on upgrading our soldiers. Or our major soldiers. If you upgrade the minor ones, they don't get that big of a boost. They still just die pretty much instantly when fighting the high-level matabele. So there's not much of a point in upgrading them, even though it is cheaper. 47. Alright. That's enough. Ooh. Looks like this mound might be fallen. That's not good. We'll see what happens. I want to make sure we don't run out of food. Oop, oop, they're coming back. Alright, I think we should be able to survive until the next matabele raid. Excellent.
The Emperor Scorpion is back. The Queen must be protected.
He hasn't even gotten past this point yet. That's pretty awesome. So it seems that he leaves after he eats a certain number of workers, so that's cool. Alright, let's dig this out. Wait. Actually, no, we're going to go outside. You can actually use these guys to help harvest, but I'm not gonna. Let's go ahead and upgrade this fully so we have full food. Turn on enemy mounting. So you want to check the timer cheat sheet thingy every couple minutes, or whenever something happens, I guess, ideally. 5230 is heat stroke, so we should be fine until then. And the bottom mount has gotten all of those. It's a shame, but that's okay, we should be fine. Did you see how we just melted that poor little earwig? Just got obliterate. Alright, there we go. For some reason, this guy just glitches out and just sits here. I don't know why. Just sitting with his head under a rock.
It's breakfast time for the matabele. They have selected the southern mound for their morning raid.
I'm going to upgrade my soldiers a tiny bit. Alright, these guys are definitely not surviving. I mean, look at all this. Yeah, they're cooked. So hopefully we can collect a decent amount of food before it is too late. Alright, let's see. Heat stroke is 5230, so at 51-ish, I want to turn back. Fortunately, the other colonies aren't smart enough to use my strategy. You know, I was thinking that it might make more sense for the termites to all gang up on the matabele, but then I realized that with the shortage of resources, they wouldn't have enough resources for all 3 mounds to survive, so that wouldn't work out very well. Alright, excellent. Now I'm going to dig out a bit more underground. Sometimes this level lasts like 55 minutes. Sometimes it can last like a minute and 10 minutes. An hour and 10 minutes. It really depends.
The undergrowth is baking in the midday sun.
Yeah, so you want to give your termites a lot of time to get back to the nest from the faraway areas. So keep that in mind. Wait for more of our soldiers to get here, and yeah, these guys are pretty much cooked. At this point, we just have to have enough food to outlast the matabele. They're really not going to be a threat at any point later in the game. So, we'll keep getting stronger, but the enemies should stay about the same. Oh wow, they survived. That's impressive. And that's good for us. 5410 is going to be the north mound, probably dying. Turn on enemy mounting to kill the scorpion. Then we'll get the final underground area. Ideally, I want to get all of these middle ones upgraded to level 3. That's the ideal. Look how fast we can collect food with all these guys. This is awesome. Yep, they're dead. Almost immediately. They had like no guys left. I don't think tiles get disrupted in this game. Okay, well the next matabele raid is gonna be on the enemy mound, so I doubt they're gonna actually attack us, so we should be okay. You can't climb on earwigs, unfortunately. Excellent, we have so much food. Do lots of harvesting. I usually don't make more than this many workers, because, I don't know, it just feels like a waste. Right, now we wait. 54 is going to be stink ant time again. And I believe they'll come from down here, so let's get ready, send some of our guys down there.
The sun has set, and without
Yep,
fail,
here we
the
go.
matabele launch their raid. They will arrive imminently at the northern mound.
This game is so much fun. I used to hate this level because of how hard it is, and because you're limited to basically this small portion of the map. The entire left half of the map might as well not exist. I don't really know why it's there, but I really like this level now just because it's fun to play with termites. They're my favorite colony in general, but my favorite ant is the driver ants. They're actually making an update where you can play as almost any ant species in almost any level. So you could play Rising Tide with bull ants and big-headed ants if you want. Oh, hey! Look at that, we won.
More than
That was
unsettling and
fast.
emptied, the remaining termites inherited
Wow, we didn't even get
control
attacked by
of
the
the
enemy mound.
vegetation.
That was incredibly good luck, actually.
They will outgrow the threat from the raiders and extend their mound into
So,
a
that is how you beat
terrible
Last Mound
fortress.
Standing on
A
Impossible
long
difficulty with a
and
challenge
bloody
active,
road
and
termite empire.
do incredibly well. We had like 1,000 food that wasn't even cooked yet. We had like 700 used food. We had upgraded major soldiers. We had a lot. So, yeah, that is the best strategy for this level so far. And that does it for all of the story levels. The only thing, the only levels left to make tutorials on are Formicarium Challenge 4 and Formicarium Challenge 5. So I'll make those at some point. I will also make tutorials for the demo levels. I additionally have a couple challenges I'm going to make. Challenge runs, challenge modes, or whatever. Custom challenges that I made myself. And I'm going to upload those. So the next Empires of the Undergrowth video will probably be one of those challenges, and then after that, probably more tutorials. And also, whatever you want to see. If you have any requests for videos, please leave them in the comments, or any other kind of feedback, please comment that. And I think that is it for this video. I'll edit in any stuff that I forgot to say. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Outro words. Bye.